Thank you, Lydia. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to all of you. We have a guest speaker today, so the first half of this session, we are going to have a presentation followed by a Q&A, and then we can talk about the future of work and answer any questions you might have. Now, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome Dr. Long, Angela Long, who's a nationally recognized speaker, researcher, and author. Angela currently serves as Chief Engagement Officer within the Office of the President at Tallahassee State College, where she oversees the college's strategic plan and the President's Leadership Institutes. She's currently working on her next book publication with NACCE, focused on preparing for the future of work and learning in the age of artificial intelligence. Angela will invite us to think like a futurist. Over to you, my friend.
Mojda, thank you so much. And it is an honor to be a part of this. And I count Mojda not just as a colleague, but a very dear friend. And she is an innovator herself. And I appreciate everyone at NACCE and the work that's happening with these partnerships. So welcome. As you're coming in the chat, if you could just tell us where you're calling in from and maybe the institution, what your role is, that would be great. Love to hear from you. As Mojda said, I'm Angela. I think I have the best job on my campus as the Chief Engagement Officer, but I do a lot on the future of work and learning. And so it's a very exciting time for us, and we get to innovate. In fact, we are embedding AI literacy into our strategic framework, looking up to the next 5 years to 2030. So just amazing things happening. This is a passion for me because I think at the heart of this conversation is to understand the importance that we each have in our roles as leaders. And I think some people look and say, well, who am I? I'm just one person. You know, what is my input going to be to this process? And what I always say to those individuals and everyone here joining is that your life matters. And each of you are unique and rare. There's not another one like you. I think people need to know their talent and their place and purpose in this conversation. So as we get started, I thank you for joining. I'm going to start off with a quote because I really like quotes, people that know me. But this is a quote that I would like to know, do you agree with this? That we are living during one of the most extraordinary times in human history. When I usually ask that, most people say, oh, we absolutely are. Well, I'm going to invite you to watch this video on the future of work. Some of you may have seen it, some of you have not, but I want you to pay close attention to what they're about to show you.
robotics, but
All right, so the question that they have there is, will our children be ready? But it's not just our children, are you ready? I think often we talk about artificial intelligence, it's in every conversation now, but I don't think that most of us realize how fast things are moving. Some of you do. So I actually would like to hear in the chat your thoughts about how you're embedding AI currently into your work, because we're going to talk about that in a moment. But because my background is education, a lot of you here, you are educators. I think it's important to understand when we're looking toward the future, what is the past? Because the past will inform our future. So looking over time, the different industrial revolutions in our country here, and actually throughout the world because it's impacted. In the 1700s, you saw the first industrial revolution, which was the invention of steam, which was pretty powerful. When you think about the classroom, we know that learning was available only to the elite class. So some of you on this call, you would not have had access to education, most of us. And so thinking about what learning was like in that era. Then you move forward to the 1800s, and this was a major movement of electricity during the second industrial revolution. And if you look closely at what it looked like in the classroom space, very compartmentalized model of learning. It was the industrial format. But think about today. When you walk into a classroom today, most of our classrooms have not changed from the 1800s. You still have the rows. You still have this concept of from 8 to 9, we have reading, from 9 to 10, we have math, from 10 to 11, science, lunch, recess, so on. Very compartmentalized. It was the widget model. And we adopted that in terms of how we teach and how we learn. But life isn't like that. We all know this. When you walk out your door, everything is interdisciplinary. It's all merging into one format, and that's how the world moves. And this concept of lifelong learning, we know that that's key. But moving ahead, as you enter the 1900s, you see the computing, the third industrial revolution. And what most people don't realize is artificial intelligence is not new. It actually came out in the 40s, but it wasn't fully introduced until 1955. We all think about, Bill Gates in his garage, 1975. The inventors of tomorrow, they had a dream, they had foresight, they had vision. And that's where entrepreneurial mindset comes in, which I'm going to address later. But that computing really caused this movement of differentiated learning. My background is teacher ed, and so all the training on how do you treat different learners accordingly to their needs and where they sit. Then we enter the 2000s, and that really became the era of intelligence, the fourth industrial revolution. And you can look at the list on here with the robotics and nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, IoT. What is IoT? Internet of Things. Everything moving within this grid. And we have seen where learning has become more personalized and more fast-paced, which enters into this next era that we are all, congratulations, you're alive to see it. You're a part of this movement, but this is Industry 5.0. And this is marked by two key points from the research that I have looked at. One is the artificial general intelligence. We talk about artificial intelligence, which is essentially the computers that are mimicking human behavior, where you identify patterns and you recognize speech. It's working for us. Artificial general intelligence, we're actually on the cusp, it's beginning, is where you have these AI systems that are capable of doing anything that a human being can. So some of you might say, well, how is that possible? That's a whole nother workshop, but they're doing it. And there are even more levels after AGI. But the second key point I want to mention is the personalization. We're going to see more and more of this, especially in our businesses and education communities. How do we personalize building pathways for students, for individuals, upskilling that is really tailoring to individual needs? So I want to discuss for a minute how fast things are moving with the AI revolution. So many of you have probably seen this chart that says the future arrives faster than ever before. But if you look at this, you can think about where we sit in 2025. Human adaptability, we can only do so much with technology. Look at the difference. Technology is definitely outpacing our ability to adapt as human beings. Some say that this chart, eventually these two lines will merge. We're not there yet. And I think that's where we're trying to figure out this world that we live in and to catch up to how fast it is moving. This is something I like to share with people. I've done a lot of, like I said, research, but my president has been gracious to invest in my professional development. I've been to a lot of different conferences. I've learned from some amazing experts in the field. And this is something that really caught my eye. When you look at information and data, I don't know if we all realize that data is doubling every 3.5 months, doubling. So when you think about the knowledge of all time that we have garnered within our systems, within our own learning and the data, this is moving quickly. And what you need to understand is that this is an exponential growth. So whatever our bar is of what we understand, AI, it's going to reach it. And I think that's a key point. There was an undisclosed Silicon Valley CEO that came out, and he did not want to be identified. And I think many, if you interview them, will say the same thing. People have no idea how fast things are changing. We're starting to pick up, but it is a world where you get up, you go to work, you drink your coffee, or maybe you have your tea, you know, talk to your family, you come home, exercise. While you're doing these things, life is moving on in the sense that these innovators of tomorrow, they're building the tomorrow, they're building the futures. Where is your place at the table? And that's my encouragement to you today, is to find your place at the table. So just how fast are things moving? I want you to watch this little clip. It is sort of a comedy, but not necessarily too far reach from our reality.
Look at this jokester Tesla bot. Look at this Cybertruck, man. You ever seen one of these before? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Uber for Sean?
Yeah, I'm Sean.
What's up, man?
Good. If you do that again, you're gonna get hurt.
May I take your luggage?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you.
I said no. Hey, man, I got some valuables in there. Can you just be careful?
Yeah, man, no problem.
Oh, dude, come on, man. What are you doing? Why are you Uber driving?
Electricity costs are high.
Electricity costs are high. Okay.
Let's go.
All right, so imagine you call an Uber and a Tesla bot shows up. I know you've seen these different vehicles driving around, but this is not far from reality of what we're about to see. I do want to share this because in 2015, the World Economic Forum, they put out a report and they said, these are the tipping points that we will see by 2025. Well, guess what? We're in 2025, so let's look at this. They said that 10% of people wearing clothes or reading glasses would have them connected to the internet. So those of you on this call that have glasses, imagine you're sitting in class and you just blink and you can look up any information. Obviously, there's meta glasses. You can do that now. Whether or not it's 10% of people wearing these reading glasses having access, we're not quite there yet. I'm going to show you some information in a minute. They say that by 2025, as of 10 years ago, we would have the first robotic pharmacist in the US. The first 3D printed car in production, the first transplant of a 3D printed liver. They say that driverless cars will be 10% of all cars on US roads, not globally. And then, of course, the last bit is on the no traffic lights, so your smart cities. So the question is, were they right in these predictions? So are we there yet? Here's some interesting articles that popped out, not just recent in this year, but in a few years ago. So this one is marked 2022. And you started seeing this in the news. Walgreens turns to robots to fill prescriptions as pharmacists take on more responsibility. So the conversation, you started seeing that movement. And then you saw this article that came out in 2021, 3D printed implant keeps liver patients alive as they hold out for donors. Wow, that's pretty impressive. You saw in the video the 3D printed house. Imagine 3D printed organs. So guess what? This is 2024, just not very long ago, a few months ago, the future of 3D printed human organs and body parts, it's here. Ladies and gentlemen, they have now 3D printed bladders, skin, cartilage, ears, heart components, prosthetics, and bone. This is mind-blowing for those of us that can't quite comprehend the growth and the rate of knowledge. And these innovators, their ideas are coming to life. So think about the future of healthcare. How many of you have ever ridden on a Waymo? Maybe put in the comment box if you ever took a Waymo ride. Has anybody on here ever been on a Waymo? Maybe virtually raise your hand. Well, Mojda, do you want to take just a few seconds and tell us what was it like?
It was like an Uber, calmer because it doesn't exceed 45 miles, doesn't go to highway, but clean. The only issues I had, I wasn't able to open the trunk to put my luggage in it. And then
Okay.
communicated with the assistant, and after 30 minutes when we almost arrived, so the ride was smooth. There are some improvement that needs to be done.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing because that's really beautifully stated. So they now have, if you look it up, it's not just San Francisco, it's in Phoenix. They're actually bringing a Waymo service to Miami. So if anybody wants to come to Florida, we'll go on a field trip and take a Waymo. But you can see on top that this is generating through AI. And by the way, AI teaches itself. So AI bots talk to AI bots, and they work through open source information. But it's literally where they learn from us and they learn from each other. But this AI self-driving car, it's looking at the surroundings, it's measuring. But when somebody like Mojda comes in, it will learn her preferences. It will learn what she likes in terms of the settings of the air conditioning or the warmth of her seat. There have been concerns. So you might say, well, this is pretty cool. It knows how to stop. It knows how to turn around in a street if it's blocked. So it's very advanced. But there was a lawsuit that came out recently. A young lady that got her Waymo was followed by a group of men all the way to her house, and she didn't know how to divert it or have it take her to a police station. And so that ended up putting her in a very dangerous situation. So Mojda, as you said, there's still work to be done. But the point is, we're going to see more and more of these services on the road. Vision Pro, you have options for augmented reality. They say that the office of the future, you'll get up, you'll go outside, you have a automated vehicle that picks you up. Maybe you didn't do your work the night before, so you have time on the way to work. Maybe you take a nap. But Vision Pro is a way to kind of have meetings, augmented reality in your home. And it's very, very just amazing, realistic experience. You can purchase it for a few thousand. You can also get a robot, which I can tell you about. But with this one, they've had issues, people getting migraines. So with all these inventions, there is still obviously work to be done. But I'll say this, we're really in our toddler stage in terms of where things are at and what they could be. You all remember ChatGPT coming out. That 2022 changed the world, but does anyone know when it actually began? ChatGPT, if you look back at the history, does anyone know the year? You can put in the chat box. All right, I'll tell you, it was 2014 is when it started becoming on the market, but most people don't realize that. But it wasn't until 2022 that it became a buzz. And so you started seeing articles where it has begun to change the world in just 1 year. Everybody jumped on board. This gentleman, Sam Altman, the OpenAI CEO, article came out that he has now kicked off the AI arms race. So these are things that we're seeing all over. But of course, you have people that say, well, there's dangers with this. Of course, there's dangers. I can take a hammer and I can build or I can destroy with any tool. But multiple CEOs have come out with concerns. So in education, those of you, some of you probably love it, use it every day. Others of you have been hesitant, but we know that with faculty and those in the education circles, there have been a lot of debate, obviously, but one thing we know is this, it's not going away. So how do you create learning spaces for students to be creative and thoughtful and innovate with this technology that actually personalizes the experience? You've seen this, some teachers going, well, I quit because I'm not going to use this in my classroom and I can't stop it. But here are the key points. Number one, AI, it can govern our political opinions. It's behind the scenes influencing. It can shape your knowledge, how you think, what you click on, right? What you buy. You cannot opt out of AI. This is a key point. It is invisible on top of being powerful. It is everywhere, key point, and nowhere at the same time, but it's influencing everything. So this surrounds our world. I want to talk now about the changing nature of work and learning because I know in a minute, Mojda is going to go into the work that they've been doing with Solve CC and how important this conversation is within our circles. So educational relevancy, I'm sure some of you have seen this data. And it's been out in a few years, but they've done a lot of national and global studies. What they found is that 56% of US adults believe that a four-year college education is not worth the cost. For some of you, you're like, I'm not surprised. The question is, why do they feel this? We know that a lot of people, there's 17 million Americans who are disgruntled with a master's degree and higher because what they went to school for, they're now in debt, but they're not working in the jobs that they wanted to go for. So there is a question mark about, is it worth it? They then interviewed and surveyed youth around the world, and 50% around the world said that they don't believe that their education is going to help them get jobs. And this is the post-secondary. So we're seeing a shift in mindset. Then you have employers where 40% say that lack of skills are missing for the new graduates coming in to work for them. But 72% of providers of these degrees and these skill sets, colleges say that they have the skills. So there's a little bit of a disconnect. And then finally, they recently surveyed Americans, and 71% said higher education's headed in the wrong direction. So whether or not you're on one side of the fence or the other, the question is, how do we pull this whole conversation together and build a new way of thinking in terms of why we do what we do? When you look at automation of work, this is not a new study that came out, but recently they said by 2030, 85% of jobs that we will see have not yet been invented, yet we advise according to what we know has been. So there's a disconnect. They say that with these new technologies, 60% of the jobs that will be created will be automated. But here's a good point. So let's be positive here. With every job destroyed, they say that 2.4 jobs will be created. And I'm going to tell you this, a lot of our students that are going to walk into this new phase of the world of work are going to create the positions and the jobs that they will have. They will be responsible. So innovation and creativity and entrepreneurship are going to be key. And then, of course, with these new jobs, there are skills required to help these humans do what AI cannot do that's strictly humanity-based. Some of you have seen this. I'm just going to go through a few more data points. But when you think about the world of work and the future of work, some people, and I'm going to tell you right now, I've looked at recent reports 2025 saying, oh, well, accountants and bookkeepers are going to be a hot job of the future. No, ladies and gentlemen, it will not. Think about the things that are task-oriented that AI can easily do. We need to have opportunities for people to understand what is available, what AI can do to assist you, but not replace you. And that's where this conversation is going to be important. But of course, the fastest growing jobs are very technology-based, AI-based, and people that know how to use the tools will have the really core jobs. So what is the pressing social issue of our century, of our time? It is this, it's redefining opportunities and building clear pathways that lead to economic and social mobility for millions of people in a society where jobs are changing. So as I said earlier, to address the future, we must look back at the past. I'm going to tell you a story. Quickly, there is a book. It's called The Sabertooth Curriculum, written in 1939 by a gentleman by the name of J. Abner Pettywell. Have any of you ever seen this book? If you have, put it in the chat. Most people have not read this, but it is a satire, and it's about this caveman community, and they have developed this beautiful curriculum to ice fish. They know how to hunt the little woolly mammoths, and they chase off the saber-toothed tigers. Well, essentially, the whole global environment changes and the waters begin to change and become muddy because the ice is melting. It's the ice age, but the kids continue to learn how to ice fish. So the kids are going out, they're trying to, cut holes in the ice, but there's no ice. They can't catch fish because it's muddy. So one day all of the tribal leaders gathered essentially, and they looked at each other and said, we got a problem because our saber-toothed tigers have run off. The little woolly mammoths can't find food. They're dying, and our children are not doing what they need to do. What do we do? So as they're discussing, one of the youngest members of the committee stood up and he said, well, my question is this, why do we do what we do? Because clearly it's not working. And the lead elder stood up very firmly and he said, because it is tradition and you do not break tradition. Now, listen, I am not against tradition, but the question is, why do we do what we do in education? It's because we've inherited a lot of things, but what must be redesigned to effectively lead the colleges of tomorrow? I do want to close out here shortly, but I want to show you this final video clip. This is a supposed classroom of the future. And this is now a movement happening in the United States. I want you to take a look.
And
there
when you
is,
say
an
responsiveness, and
ad.
you loved
So I'm just
how
gonna skip
responsive
that because
Carrie
I don't
was,
pay for
that's
the
awesome.
YouTube
Because that
version. There we go.
You can grab your computer and your headphones.
At Alpha School in Austin, Texas, every day is an experiment.
When you look around, like one of the things that's missing is the traditional like desks where everybody sits. This is their classroom for the day?
So think about more like a WeWork space.
A space where all the teaching of core curriculum is left to artificial intelligence.
How many Shapies are in the pool in all?
6 times as many as 3 equals 18. Great work.
what are you working on here?
Core skills.
Core skills, huh?
AI is able to help you learn whatever you need to learn.
Who's teaching?
I think the app is teaching me, but I'm also teaching myself.
Here's the thing about an AI tutor. It doesn't care if a student is white, black, or brown. It doesn't care if a student is rich or poor. It doesn't care if a student is in the 10th percentile or the 85th percentile. It's infinitely patient.
For some people it might look like, wait, why is this kid just getting extra screen time? But we are learning, we're just learning in a different way.
The school day starts with 2 hours of AI learning, where different AI programs guide students through math, reading, language, and science.
This dashboard allows us to see what they completed and shows us, okay, are they hitting their goals? Are they not?
All tracked by the school, the parents, and the students.
I'm in 8th grade science, and then 9th grade language, 10th grade reading, and then 7th grade math.
Where are you guys headed? What are you doing?
But here, co-founder Mackenzie Price says the grown-ups in the classroom are not called teachers because they're not teaching the curriculum.
Decision must be unanimous. Decide amongst yourselves.
They're called guides, more like motivational mentors / tech support.
It's okay that our guides aren't experts in physics or math.
It almost sounds like the guides here are told, you're not here to teach. You're here to lead the kids to AI.
Our guides are not allowed to teach. The adults that work in the classroom, their sole job is to provide motivational and emotional support.
Oh, you were so...
Okay, I'm going to stop there because the children, after 2 hours of instruction, they build things, they run their own Airbnb, they learn to cook, they learn to rock climb, and this is becoming very popular. All of it is built upon this idea of creativity and innovation. So when you think about the future of education, how are we personalizing the experience? And I think what we're going to start seeing more and more is this personalized learning approach where you can learn at any time. There's lots of ways to learn. It can be done anywhere, and it's differentiated according to the automated journeys and that one-on-one engagement with our students. So my closing comments is this: what is your place and purpose in this entire conversation? I want to close with this. I want you to think about how to embrace an exponential mindset. If I was to give you $1 million right now, or a penny that doubles every day for 31 days, what would you choose? Most people would take the million because it's immediate. But if you took the penny, by day 3, you have 8 pennies. By day 15, $163. Doesn't sound real sexy, but by day 31, you're going to have 10.7 million. The key is this: a lot of people, when they look at this kind of thought process about AI or exponential learning, it doesn't start out real sexy. It's not a really exciting, it looks very basic. But when you think about what it's going to be and being willing to be patient to watch that process, it becomes a masterpiece. So when you look at the 1980 mobile phone, some of you are aware of that. AT&T hired McKinsey Research to say, is this something we should have investments in for the future? And do you know what they said? No, it's not going to be in demand. So the better question, because clearly AT&T got it wrong, is rather than is it something we need to invest in, it should be, what is it going to look like in 20 years? So thinking about Blockbuster, Netflix took them out overnight. This is the whole point, is where we sit, there are expectations, we have disappointment, there's also stress, but there's opportunity. And that's what I want to leave you with. Thinking about the skills of the future. This is what we need to be doing with our students as we prepare the future of work. We know skills are changing. We know that the fastest growing skills are 3 core domains. You have cognitive, technology literacy, and socio-emotional. What do you see here? Innovation, ideation, problem solving. I highlighted on the bottom leadership and social influence because leadership is going to be key for human beings to manage these systems. And how are we teaching this? That's the challenge. We don't see enough of this in the work that we do. So thinking about durable skills, when they interviewed employers today, leadership was requested as number one, and the second was communication. This is not a skill base that we're thinking that's hardcore skills. These are the soft skills that we're going to have to bring back to the conversation. So as we close out, I need everyone here as we talk about how do we cultivate the entrepreneurial thinking and build up our student leadership. And when you think about that mindset, it's looking at problems, how to solve them, building that resilience and adaptability. It's a continuous process in our student curriculum, in the way that we teach, the way that we learn. So how are you preparing your students for this world? It is the future of work. It is our time to innovate now. And what I'm going to leave as my challenge is this. We went ahead as our institution and we gathered not just our college, but regional leaders to have a conversation. How do we prepare a future ready Tallahassee? All these stakeholders from multiple sectors gathered. Ladies and gentlemen, they developed a roadmap. I was a part of this process. A lot of what you see here is that training, that K through 20 curriculum development. We have a momentum we've never seen within our 3-county region. This was done through a design thinking approach, and I have to tell you, it's working and it's changing the conversation. So the call to action is this. How do you partner not just with your institution, but bigger organizations like Solve CC to really cultivate that next level conversation and give students the power to innovate and to think about what tomorrow could be? So as I close, I want to encourage you, don't wait for experts to show up, be the expert, empower your students, empower your faculty and administration, give them the option to come up with solutions, know your mission and vision as you're thinking about what the future is going to look like. I encourage everyone to embrace a design thinking framework, keep the momentum going. A lot of people, they don't keep it going. That's key. But ask yourself, why do we do what we do? And with that, don't underestimate who you are, your worth, and what your leadership can bring to this conversation. So with that, I just want to say thank you, Mojda. Everyone on this call, you matter. I really hope that you take this opportunity to step forward in a powerful way and just know your life, you're making a change every day that you get up. And so just keep going. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela, for this amazing presentation. I would like I would like us to spend a few minutes if you have any specific question for Angela, or if you have any comments. Let's start with that. You can raise your hand or you can drop your questions in the chat.
So Krista, thank you. You said, can the slides be shared? Absolutely. I am happy to share. And I actually have a whole presentation on just the future of learning. And Mojda work with me to cut down these slides because there's so much I get excited to share about, but I'm happy to share what I have given today. So
These
thank you.
slides are going to be shared through an email that you're all going to receive today through NACCE, along with the recording of this session. If you want to share after that the complete set of slides, we can do that as well.
So does anyone have any comments just in terms of what you're going to take away from this conversation today? What is it that you're going to take away? Because I will say this, if I may, I go to a lot of workshops, we all do, and we all sit through it, but then there's no action. And honestly, I've come to the point where I'm tired of going to things and there's no follow-up. So it's become for me a life work all of a sudden to say, okay, let's talk about this and let's bring humanity back to this conversation. Let's give our students the ability to innovate, have ownership of the future, and not just our students, but our faculty. And I will tell you, we have begun this momentum here through this model that I shared briefly. I can share with any of you one-on-one what we did to make that happen. But I think this is where you all have the reign to be that catalyst for your campus. So I believe Harriet has her hand up.
Yeah, I'm constantly preaching this message.
Yes.
And I had the opportunity last week to meet with our local high school district and their educators and industry. Same thing. If you don't get the data from World Economic Forum, check out their website, download their reports, because they're on the cutting edge of explaining to us this Industry 4.0 as we merge into Industry 5.0. You're right. We keep looking past and we've got to
Yes.
look future because we've got to prepare for the future. And in fact, there are some that saying that the rate of change right now, realistically, with the impact of AI, is every 18 hours, knowledge is doubling. Every 18 hours. In
Wow.
comparison, after World War II, it was every 25 years.
That's right.
So are our students understanding that? They totally understand that.
Yeah.
So we have to, it's a revolution, and we have to be on the brink of the revolution to really help our faculty, our administrators, our parents, and then our students understand that. And
Yeah.
industry as well. Industry knows it's changing, but they quite don't know how to clearly communicate this is what we need. They need
Yes.
the technical skills, right?
Yes.
More than anything, they need people to show up for the job. And
Yes.
showing up for the job are all of those what we've called soft skills, but they're not soft. They're essential skills.
That's right.
So, so we just have to keep having the dialogue.
You know what? 100% agree with you. And I will tell you that I think you appreciate the data that you shared. They also looked at a group of kindergartner students. And because my background's teacher ed, so I'm very interested, obviously, in the K through 20, the entire pathway and the process to workforce. But they measured their creativity, and 98% of the kids were like off the charts. By the time that same cohort graduated, it was the opposite. And so it's like, what do we do in education to beat out the creativity where people are afraid to fail? They're afraid, to step forwards. We are doing this in the process because it's how it's been done. And this has got to be a change. I do want to say, and I hope I say your name right, Mahatapa. And feel free to correct me, but she asked, are there organizations where we as faculty are able to discuss with each other how to help our students and faculty to innovate? I put this slide back up because let me tell you, if I may, Mojda, just a few more minutes, what we did. I began to partner with the chamber, and I did a similar talk, but it was 45-minute talk before like all these chamber representatives with all the sectors. And out of it, everybody was so hungry to go, okay, but now what? So my president said, okay, we're going to host on our campus a half-day design thinking workshop with the entire region. We had about over 200 people sign up. We fed them, so we sponsored it. But through that, everyone got to sit at tables according to their sectors to say, okay, how do we prepare the future of work and learning for the greater Tallahassee region? And it wasn't just our college. We brought in all the universities. We brought in business leaders, tech, industry. We did a panel discussion. And can I tell you, everyone on the call, my friends, this roadmap, it is now launching. We have begun 4 advisory councils. We're committed in the spring to host an AI innovations conference. And we're inviting them to tell their story and what they're doing to enact change. And something has happened. So if you want, this model, I am happy to tell you exactly how I built out the design thinking format to gather stakeholders throughout the region. You can do the same. So I'm finished, Mojda. If there's no other questions, I thank you all. It was an honor to talk with you today. And please email me if you have any questions or you want to be in touch.
Angela, thank you for the amazing presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. What I would like to do right now, she brought up a lot of points. And honestly, some of her presentation, I was feeling like she was talking about self-CC. Self-CC is not the only answer to these big questions. There is one way of approaching it. We are focusing 100% on students agency, and those essential skills that you were talking about. We empower them to identify problems in their communities, ideate solution to address them, and we partner with NACCE to launch the Future of Work Challenge for all of you at no cost. This is fully sponsored by us. And I've heard a few things that I would like to bring up to your attention again. We cannot work on the future. We need to be aware of the past, but we cannot work on the future through the filter of the past. We will be missing something here. Let me share my slides to tell you a few words about the Future of Work Challenge and then answer your questions. And Mahatapa, there is at a smaller scale, that community that we are creating through Solve CC Hours with students and champions who are registering to coach them, to support them, not to teach them, like Angela brought up in her presentations. We are offering the Solve CC Hours every Thursday morning. Some of you have been a part of it. Students are also welcome to join. And these are the conversations that we are having with them at an extremely pragmatic level. So let me share my slides with you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we believe that every students deserve access to opportunities. That's what we are focusing on at Solve CC. We have been around for 2 years, have reached over 2,500, is closer to 3,000 or 3,000 plus today. 3,000 students. They have engaged and activated 10,000 plus community members, and there has been prizes, over 80K of prizes awarded to them. We, as I mentioned, empower the students, boost their confidence, student agency. And the opportunity here is to connect the classroom learning with real world challenges. We believe that this process will strengthen your institution, that will establish your reputation as a leader and innovation. We are focusing on interdisciplinary collaboration, interdepartment, and by design, the teams that are excited to participate in any of our challenges, we only require one currently enrolled student in the team. The rest of the team can be faculty and staff member, can be community members, can be family members, can be problem owners in the community. So by design, we are inviting everyone to join since the beginning, whatever the challenge they are facing. And then the hope is to prepare market-ready graduates. Students are going to learn those essential skills that we were talking about. They need to be self-managed. They need to know how to communicate. They need to know how to collaborate. And you cannot teach them to do that. You need to give them an opportunity to go through the process and learn from it. When they are participating in our challenges, it's really not about winning the competition. They are winning by going through the process. 3 types of challenges: solve community challenges that we can talk about at a later date. We don't have time today. I'm going to focus on shaping the future series, and the Future of Work Challenge is the one that we are offering you today. The Future of Work Challenge is an initiative aimed at addressing the rapidly changing landscape of work and empowering students to contribute their vision to this critical conversation. What we are asking them is to imagine the work the way they would like to see it, and they tell the story in less than a 2-minute video. Zero cost to your organizations, easy implementation, leadership opportunity, and recognition, and the winners are going to be announced at NACCE annual conference next October. The purpose, again, is to engage the students and amplify their voice. Deliverable, a short description of their vision, describe the diversity of their team, and they are allowed to use AI. They are incentivized to use it if they want, but we are asking them to explain how they have used it in a responsible manner to improve their project. And the team requirement, I repeat, at least one student per team. Diverse skills and perspectives are encouraged, and the rest of the team can include anyone they want. The deadlines, students need to register by March 31st, and the deadline for the final submission is August 17. Through this competition, they will get exposed to future-oriented mindset. This is something that we all need to learn or improve on. Self-management, leadership, creativity, storytelling. If you are interested, you want to learn more, it's extremely easy. You sign up as a champion, and your only role as a champion is spread the word in your community, in your college, and coach students as little or as much as you want. And we are here to support you. We provide you with all the material you need. And again, we are offering to all the champions and registered students Solve CC hours every Thursday from 8:30 to 9:30 PT, which is 12:30 to 1:30 Eastern Time. Then you can get your institution involved and stay connected. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me or my partner, Hui. Do you have any questions, any reactions? Again, you can raise your hand or you can communicate via chat. And I know I went through these slides very quickly, but we will have time to answer any questions you want now or later. Will we receive? Yes, you will absolutely receive all the slides through an email that Lydia and NACCE is going to send to all of you along with the recording. Would love to have this in writing so you can think, okay, you're going to receive that. You have any questions, Matahaba, just reach out, email us. We can set a time. We are always a Zoom call away. We can set a time and talk with you. Any other questions, reactions?
And Mojde, just to jump in here, I'm also happy to let everybody know just an update because I know that we've been doing this for a little while and appreciate everybody being on the webinar again. But we've got 80 students already registered for the challenge and are currently working on it. We've got a weekly Solve CC hours to help champions as well as students. And I just came from that call as well. So it's really amazing to see the passion that a lot of these students have, and they're coming in to engage with us as well as other coaches in the program as well. So we've got about 25 coaches, or not coaches, but champions right now from a variety of different institutions. So the progress has been going really well. We're excited to get more people on board, and we're here to help. But just wanted to provide everybody an update there, and thank everyone for the time today.
And let me share a short video. We started to receive a huge shout out to Tanya, who is on the call with us. She assigned her students with an assignment. She gave them participating in Future of Work Challenge as an assignment. And we started to receive some of the submissions. Let me just share one of them with you. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you just have to double check again to make sure the audio is going to be shared. Moshe, when you do share it.
It's no longer
right.
just a paycheck, but about a balance, about community and choice. At the Neighborhood Connect, we believe in providing opportunities. Others prefer life as it is today, choosing their own home, their own services, and receiving traditional company benefits. That's the beauty of it. When working with the Neighborhood Connect, you get to decide where housing, wellness, and education are integrated right outside your front door. For those who choose the neighborhood, life is designed for convenience. Free company housing, on-site wellness, employee-dedicated childcare and education, a support system for our employees. For those who don't, the same job, the same career opportunities, just with the flexibility to choose your own path. At the Neighborhood Connect, we're not just hiring employees. We're creating a workplace where you choose what's best for you. Because work-life harmony isn't one size fits all. It's personal. It's flexible. It's yours. A place to work. A place to grow. A place to call home. If you choose to.
So this is one of the submissions that we started to receive as of yesterday. Any questions, reactions? And know that we haven't given them any specific instructions in terms of the topic they are choosing, in terms of how they want to go about it. And one of the conversations that we were having with Tanya, the professor, was the students were saying, what do you mean I can do whatever I want? What do you think I can select the topic? Our students are not used to this. They are so used to get extremely specific instructions. We cannot expect them to become self-learners, self-managed, creative. We cannot, if we don't give them that liberty, the outcome that we are looking for is not going to be there. So this is one of the one. It's not in terms of the best one. We have 5 others that I can share with you later, but just wanted to share with you what they are coming up. This one was on life and work harmony. They have selected other ones, the topic that they want. We just give them some inspirational points. They can select them or not, or come up with whatever they want. Any reactions, questions, comments?
I'll throw this in there as well because I've spoken to several students that are currently working on this. And one of the things I think that the example that Moshe had shown was, just kind of one type of this. And I think that if we provided too many examples, kind of like on our website as what we thought or previous winners or what we thought might be some good ideas for this, I think then we would get a lot of the ones that people are trying to just replicate instead of just using their own. Some of the students have some extremely creative and just their imagination and creativity just amazes me. And it's life that only as how they imagine it in the future. It's not even like I didn't even have this concept when they were. I couldn't even imagine it myself until they spent the time to explain it about why they chose that prompt or what their team was working on. And it's really a future of work as how they imagine it, whether or not there is work in the future or not, but they're imagining it not necessarily 5 years, 20 years, or even 50 years into the future. This could be hundreds of years into the future. And I think that the amount of kind of like creativity that they're able to show off of that, some of them are more kind of like fantasy focused, where, these concepts take time to critically think about, why they chose to have some of these things that we can't even imagine might exist, right? The technology, the changes in climate. We may not even be on the same planet anymore, right? It's just amazing to see them develop these ideas and then tell a compelling story. So I think that the example that Moshe provided is pretty safe, right? A lot of us can kind of imagine that. We can kind of see that. We know that that might be possible based on what we're looking at now. But some of these other students are truly amazing because they're talking about things that like I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even think about it, but they're telling compelling stories. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing all of these submissions come in. And this contest is going for several more months. So, these are just some of the early ones that we wanted to show you here today.
Tanya, you don't have to. I was wondering if you want to share a few words about your experience with the students so far, or not. Everything is optional with us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm sorry, I'm driving, so it may be a lot of feedback. My apologies. I do want to say that, first and foremost, thank you again for always creating a space for us to ask questions and get additional information. One of the, as Moshe was saying, one of the challenges that I have with my students is that because they are so used to perimeters, when given an opportunity, hey, utilize AI, think of any concept that you want, they were really apprehensive. But at the end of the project, I've been getting a lot of feedback, and they've actually been saying thank you because it pushed them to actually try to think outside of the box and embrace a lot of the AI and working in partnership, which are a lot of the things, and creativity, critical thinking skills, working interpersonal relationships. So a lot of the things that I desired for them to learn, they walked away with. So just as I think it was we just stated, that it's not about winning a competition. They're winning when they're walking away with new skill sets. So thank you again. And I'm here to help if anyone needs help, but I'm still learning myself as well.
Thank you, Tanya.
So if we wanted to get involved in this in any way, would we then reach out to you all? I think my college is a member of NACCE, and we have a really robust business entrepreneurship program, obviously computer science, and just lots of them. AI entrepreneurship has been a huge conversation over the years on our campus, but I'd like to see us take it a lot further. And I think we could do a lot of great work with your partnership. And so I just was wondering, how do we get more involved? I was just going onto the websites that were shared here.
Catherine, the very easy way to involve, I can drop, if you don't mind, drop the website for chat, the link for the champions into the chat. There is a 1-minute application for anyone who wants to become a champion. Again, no cost to your college, no bureaucracy. Whoever is interested to become a champion, you fill out that 1-minute form and you're on. Then you'll receive additional information. You will be invited to the Solve CC hours. And later on down the road, let's start experiencing it. And if you wanted us to go further, to design something specific for you, we can do that. With that being said, one word of caution. I wouldn't recommend, entirely up to you, to take it either to entrepreneurship, business, AI, or any of those silos. I'm not familiar with your college, but community colleges that are, my background is not education, that I know from far, we have way too many silos. They should not consider that they own this program. We have tons of students from humanity department, journalism, STEM students. Everyone can participate, communicate with them, but let's don't make it a program that is owned by them. I would recommend against that. You can communicate it with your faculty members anywhere, any department. You can communicate the program with the student clubs. You can do however you want. The ultimate goal is reaching out to the students. They should see the benefit with the invitation from the faculty member, their classes, assignment, credit, extra credit, you name it. That just incite students to participate, and we are here to help. Did I answer your question, Catherine?